I'm Tony Pulis.
And I'm Mick McCarthy, and welcome to The Managers.
I don't think Arteta is in any trouble at all if they win or don't win. They'll stick with him. What about Wolves, Mick?
Vitor Pereira turned it around. But despite losing the opening 5 matches of the season, he's being offered a new 3-year contract. It's not... I'm going to say, can't go on like this, can it? It can.
It can. Is there players at West Ham good enough to be better than where they are now? That's the question that we've got to ask, really.
Welcome back to the show. Don't forget you can email us on hello@themanagerspod.com. And for all the links, you can head to themanagerspod.com. Right, Tom, we've a lot to talk about. Let's get on with it, shall we?
Liverpool. What do you think, Mick?
Well, two smart asses here have both backed him for the title. But after our run of results this weekend that we also backed, well, I'm not so sure we are such smart bottoms after all. What do I think? I think they're amazing. I think they're just... Are all the others anywhere near? I'm not so sure. They've done great business, and they keep doing it in the last minute. They're fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think they've played anywhere near to their full potential at the moment. He's brought a lot, some top players in.
Isn't that a worry?
Yeah,
for everybody else?
That's what I mean. So you look at it, but what I always look at teams that can play badly, Mick, especially the top teams, or don't play to their full potential but still win games, and they do that. They win when they're not at their full potential.
But you and I both know, like if we'd have been, which we would have been, had lesser teams and we're going to Anfield or playing against them at home at Stoke or at Sunderland, you'd have set your team up to be really hard to beat that day. So they've had 5 wins in 5. They've scored in the last minutes. But we both know, and well, we'll get on to Manchester City in a while, but how you change your team to play against the better teams makes it hard for them. And they've got to find a way to do it.
But the difference is that quality.
So that's what we're saying. So the 5 points clear at the top already, and it feels like they've not played, as we're saying, they're the best. They were our pick, but there's a long way to go yet. But now we've got Ekitike, is it? Ekitike?
Yeah.
Got the nod against Isak.
Yeah, but I just think on that, and we've not had those riches. They're going to play in so many different competitions this year, Mick, that everybody's going to be rotated. Yeah. And it's not like when we played, if we weren't in the team, we were banging the manager's door down saying, if we're not going to play, we want to go.
Well, you were dropped.
You were dropped.
That's what you thought.
Yeah. You were banging the door. I've only got a short career. I want to play. Everything was about playing. Now, there's a lot of players earning an absolute fortune, Mick, through the squad, through the 25-man squad. And it just eases the pain a little bit if they're not playing. And I'm not so sure I'm not so sure, hold on a minute, Mick, that it's football. There's a lot of other things that revolve around players' lives now.
Well, can I ask you, do you think any of the Liverpool players, Arsenal, Man City, Tottenham, are relying on their appearance money? That's the other thing. That's the other thing. We left somebody out of the team and he's on 500 quid a week, but he's on 100 quid appearance money. And he's got Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. He's almost got a week's wages on appearance money.
Well, I've worked with players in professional football who were doing part-time jobs. After we'd finished at 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon, Mick, they're off doing part-time jobs. But we wanted to play football.
Yeah,
that was it. It didn't. Nothing else mattered. Pep didn't change his team. That was the 3rd game consecutively that he picked the same team. Whereas you go at Liverpool and Liverpool have made changes, Manchester United make changes, other teams. So again, it's down to that manager believing his eyes and believing in what is needed for the games he plays.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't think. I don't think it really affects him. Like you say, it was money to us as well as everyone, keeping the family going, Mick. Having said that, we've got the best league in the world, the best entertainment, I think, and, we can't complain about what is the greatest game in the world.
Are you pushing Ekitike to keep Isaac out? No, I think you want both of them to be to be competing against each other, but also knowing that, by the way, you might be the sub this week and you're going to come on. If he doesn't score, because you get the hero worship from the fans, you get all the acclaim from TV, from everything else.
Mick, there'll be that personal challenge.
Oh, it's a nice place to be, isn't it?
There's that personal, and if they've most probably done their own work, if they're two really good professionals, which it looks as though they are, there'll be that person. You know what it's like, Mick? It's that person. Am I going to score more than you're going to score? And if I get the chance, I'm going to take it.
To have competition within your squad is brilliant, but after competition, like who could be the top scorer, who could be the best player. Anyway, it's a great thing to have in it for Arnie Slot. He'll be sleeping with a coat hanger in his mouth upside down. He'll need to keep smiling too often. Anyway, we'll talk about them. Liverpool's main rivals next. Arsenal, Man City. You watched the game. I watched the game, and I don't know whether they've been. I'm sure he wasn't listening to us because we're talking about.
Of course, he was listening to us.
I love your thought process on that. Finding a way to win, and nobody's ever seen it. Nobody's ever seen Pep's team play like that. He had the lowest percentage of possession, and yet they go to Arsenal and they sit in and make it hard to beat. I have to say though, for the wonderful goal that it was, the pass, the run, the finish. What about the defending in the 94th minute as well? Because you'd block him, you'd just stop him. You don't try and play offside in the 94th minute. It's just
one of my main defensive points, and I thought I was quite good at setting teams up defensively. Teams never get behind you, whatever happens, because if your defenders are facing your own goal, you're not doing it properly. And they had time. The lad on the ball had time on the ball, and they've allowed the runner to get in. And they should have dropped nice and early, Mick, and just dealt with it. Having said that about the game, one thing I'll say, he has shown Arsenal so much respect about doing that. That is a big, big plus for Arteta and Arsenal.
They got bashed the last time.
Absolutely, so much respect. So, people criticise Pep for doing this, that, and the other. I thought it was really, really interesting to see how he set up, to see how pragmatic he was. And really, in the end, as you said, it was just a long ball over the top that gets the goal. They should have defended that better. But for 90-odd minutes, Mick, they defended ever so well.
Well, I watched Match of the Day last night and I watched it this morning. And I'm listening to the talk about Arsenal weren't very good. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute, they're playing against Manchester City, who have won the title 5 times in a row. So, do you know, it's funny this, I listen to people talking about it on the TV, commentators, co-commentators, pundits. You've got to consider who you're playing against. And you're playing against, arguably the best coach in the world, who's got 5 times on the bounce have won the title. If I'm wrong, forgive me, correct me. And he's got good players, and he's asked them to do something different. He's asked them to make it really difficult for Arsenal.
Well, he changed it right at the beginning, Mick.
I thought City, I think really we ought to be saying how well City did. Score, because you've got the ability with Haaland to score your goal, and then sit in and make it hard.
Yeah.
The problem for me is the defending in the last minute of the game. But other than that,
I like Pep. I think I like him. I think he's been absolutely unbelievable for what he's brought to the country and really changed the whole face and structure of the game in this country. But last year, when they were losing games and he couldn't get a result, and never mind what they did or what they do, I did have a little smile to myself because I'm watching him after the interviews, Mick, and there was lines on his face for the first time. His eyes looked a little bit puffy and he looked a little bit short with the people who were asking him the questions. And it was like, yeah, I've been there. Well, I understand that.
Well, we said before, the English is not as good, is it? Not quite as good when you've lost a few.
But watching the game, I give him great credit for the way he set the team up, the way it was organised. And like I say, and this is what the great teams do, or the top teams do. One mistake, and they punish you.
We talked last week, didn't we? I mean, much as made of Pep Guardiola, they're talking about Jose Mourinho and Big Sam. I mean, they were brilliant at doing that, but they certainly weren't as good as doing what Pep does on the other side of things. And it was so, I have to say, I thought it was refreshing.
Yeah.
So interesting, refreshing to see him do it, to actually realise that he's going to Arsenal. He probably thought if he got a point, being 1-0 up in 94 minutes, he'll be so disappointed that he's lost it.
I didn't see the goalkeeper throw a ball out. I can't remember the goalkeeper throwing a ball out.
No.
I think he kicked it forward to the big fella
I think
all
he
the
mentioned
time.
afterwards, didn't he, about the press? He said, if you think they're going to get caught.
Well, Mick, that's coaching. That's organising your side to face an opposition that, as I've said, he has given Arteta and Arsenal so much respect. Yeah. And that's a great plus for Arteta and Arsenal.
Well, one of my favourites, I've backed him for Player of the Year. He was once again on the bench.
Yep. That'll teach you.
He came on to provide the assist, though. Do I get any more points for that? I'm not so sure. He's going to be fabulous. That's the other thing about, I'm hearing people say, oh, this player should be playing, that player should be playing, this one should be. Never having done it. Yeah. Never being in the position to see. We don't know whether he's got a little bit of a hamstring strain. We don't know if he's something's wrong with him. He's tired. We'll put him on as a sub. I have to say, putting him on as a sub worked anyway. So
yeah, but he played that game on the midweek game in Europe as well. So Arteta's looking at it and thinking, well, if it's going to be a tight game, which before the game you think it's going to be tight. Last 20 minutes, last half an hour, nice and fresh. You bring him on. City have been defending. It gives him the opportunity then to perform to his best ability. And he's a leg beater. Yeah, he takes people out of the game. Yeah. That's his strength. And the pass was fantastic.
I reckon I can say without any criticism on this, which is fairly bold, isn't it? Arteta wasn't expecting Pep Guardiola to come and have 11 men, 10 men and the keeper behind the ball.
That's more credit to Pep.
Of course it is. But Arteta was probably thinking he's going to play completely different. He might have been setting up to be a bit tougher, to be harder to beat. And then at half-time he realises how they're playing and he changes it, which is you've got to do. That's the difference.
Principles went out of the window, Mick.
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about Arteta. He's spent big this summer. Spent a lot of money, still no trophy. What do you reckon? No, listen, he's under pressure to win it.
He's under pressure to win. I just think the football club I look behind the manager and the first team. I think the football club, Arsenal Football Club, have always been renowned for sticking generally to the managers. And Wenger got over 20 years. If he wins something, it goes on. If he doesn't, then the supporters will get a bit frustrated and a bit uptight. But I don't think the people behind. I don't think Arteta is in any trouble at all if they win or don't win. They'll stick with him, Mick. I really do think it's one of them where they go, he's the man that we want. Hopefully we win trophies. If we don't, we'll try and improve year after year and we'll back him. Yeah, you could say, well, he's a very lucky man then. But I just think that club is so stable and so well run behind the scenes. I don't think the lad is under any... He'll be under pressure himself. He put pressure on himself. And the players now know that they've got as good a team as anybody else. Man City have just proved that by going there and playing the way they did. So that's pressure there. But behind the scenes, I just don't see it.
He's very lucky by being good, though.
Yeah, of course.
You get backing from the club. You get people who support you by being good. I think his transfer dealings have been good. His results have been good. The chance he had when he had to win the title.
Yeah, he's messed up
lost
there.
It right at the very end. Yeah. And you know what? That'll be hurting. We both know that.
Yeah.
We've been in the
but that's experience, and I think it's getting over that step. If you can see the club, if they win this year, if they win the title or they win one of the trophies, the big trophies, the European trophy or title, they'll go on and on and on. He just needs to break that straw.
The result that he got yesterday is brilliant for them. They actually
the goal in the last couple of minutes.
In the last couple of minutes. It was like a win for them.
Yeah.
It was almost like a defeat for City when you see them afterwards. But no, he's. I hope he's not under pressure because he's got a great team.
No chance. No,
there's a few more under pressure before him. Let me tell you. Let's have a look, shall we? We might find one.
I don't think we have to look far, Nick.
We're going to chat about West Ham. I mean, it's that is a tough one. 2-1 home defeat at the hands of Palace. Palace are flying though, by the way.
Yeah.
So let's, that. In days gone by, people would have gone, oh wow. Now, I mean, Palace are flying, and you can see why. But Graham's under serious pressure, I would imagine.
I just think if you look back at West Ham and look back at the success they've had over the past, I don't know how many years, they've had pragmatic managers. It's been managers like Sam or Moisey who have gone in there and done the best job. And I think even Bilic was pragmatic for me, the way he played. But the supporters want more. You listen to they want to play the beautiful game. They want to have this. They want to have icing on the cake.
Can I just talk about somebody? Can I just mention, you're just saying that, Charlton, Alan Kirbishley.
No, I know. Time after time.
The fans weren't happy with him finishing 10th in the Premier League. And I was at his last game. I went to him, presented him with 2 round-the-world tickets he had they bought for him or facilitated him with because he was leaving. And then where did they end up? They ended up in the second division. So they got tired of somebody being pragmatic, playing a nice, tidy way, being strong, finishing 10th. And like you're saying, at West Ham, that's been the case over the few years.
The number of times that club actually spins is frightening, and they spin quicker than most. David took them to Europe. All right, it was the, third division European competition, and won that.
We'd have both took one of those.
Yeah, just a little bit, and won that. And his performances in the league, they had some fantastic performances against some of the big teams, but it wasn't enough for the supporters. And I think everywhere I go in England, there's always West Ham supporters. It seems to be such a popular club and such a club that everybody is so passionate about. The chairman has taken loads of stick and is taking loads of stick now, but he has spent an absolute fortune there. And he's backed his managers, and I think there's certain situations where you look at clubs and you think, well, the supporters have turned against the chairman, the supporters have turned against this, that and the other. Is there players at West Ham good enough to be better than where they are now? That's the question that we've got to ask, really. Is Graham getting the best out of that group of players? And is it because of Graham? Is it because of the players? Mick, you've been there, I've been there. You're given a deck of cards, and you've got to make the most of that, and you've got to win. Whether it's a good deck or not a good deck, you've got to work and the structure of everything for me at all the football clubs, especially the ones down the bottom half of the Premiership. The structure is, how can we win? Forget about anything else, because winning breeds confidence. It gets results. It gets everything. It eases the pressure off the manager. And that's what Graham's got to do. He's got to start getting results quickly.
Well, I certainly haven't heard Graham complaining about his lot or no money or anything like that, and obviously he can't. But I've always said, when people say to me, and I've been at clubs and you have, when you haven't got a great budget, it's your job to do the best you possibly can with the players you've got.
Yep.
And once that deadline day is gone, that's you and that's your lot, and you've got to try and find a way.
Graham will know that.
But let me tell you, he'll be trying everything he can, whether it's verbally, physically, coaching-wise. There was a time when they'd go, right, come on, we're all going out for a pint. I'm not sure you can do that now and get the best out of everybody.
Yeah.
You'd take them on a paintballing day. You'd do something to break the run of defeats, the run of bad luck, whatever you might call it, just to change the atmosphere in the dressing room.
And to find out
what people are like. And,
Yeah, Mick, you've most probably done the same. Every Thursday when I was a manager, I used to take the staff out for a bite to eat and a few drinks. Not the players, but the staff.
Yeah.
And I'd get a few drinks, we'd have a few drinks, and then the staff would start opening up a little bit, and there'd be someone would say something that maybe they shouldn't have said, and someone would say this, and I used to pick things out of those little dinners we'd have together. It was brilliant bringing the staff together and keeping them nice and close. It was lovely having a couple of pints, and we always reminisced over this, that, and everything else. But I did it for a purpose. I did it to find out if the physio knew something that I wasn't aware of, or the fitness coach was saying something about someone I wasn't aware of. So I'm sure Graham has got his way of managing. I'm sure he's got his way. He's been in the game a long time now of trying to set something up inside the football club that can find out what exactly is going wrong for them not to be winning games.
Well, I wish him the very best, despite the fact that I played for Millwall and managed Millwall. That might be upsetting a lot of people. I hope not. It's the person, because we've been there when it is a tough gig. And let me tell you, how debilitating is it? It can be. It gets you every single thing. And you, by the way, you go home, you're snarling at everybody, you're chewing at everybody. And
I tell you that, club.
And you've got to come in on the morning. Taff used to say, Ian Evans, Taff used to say, right, this is it. Silly hat, red nose, juggling routine Monday morning. It was like, and you had to get yourself going.
Yeah.
And then, because you've got 20 odd players, staff coming in, and you have got to be the one that's leading them.
Well,
and it's tough, isn't it?
Mick,
when it's going wrong, it's tough.
The biggest thing is, and again, I've passed this on to the younger managers in the game and people who do ring me up for advice. The most important thing is in those periods is that you manage yourself and you manage your time and you manage what you're doing all the way through. It's no good thinking we're losing, so I've got to stay in the office till 6 o'clock at night if you're not doing anything. You've got to manage yourself. You're the person who walks in, you're carrying the flag. You've got to walk in Monday morning as bright as a button, irrespective of what's happened on the Saturday. You've got to get in there and you've got to get that bunch moving again.
Oh, for sure.
And you walking in there with your head round your backside doesn't help at all. We've all done it, mind, but it doesn't help at all. So managing that time and that period where it's not going so well is ever, ever so important for managers.
The Managers with Mick and Tony is powered by BoyleSports, the home of the early payout. And why is BoyleSports the home of the early payout? I hear you ask. Well, with BoyleSports, if your team goes 2 goals up, you win. Job done, you're getting paid out. Singles, ACCAs, bet builders, it's all covered. And this also means that we need to reconsider some crucial games across your careers, Mick and Tony. In fact, I'm going to take you back to the Britannia Stadium, Halloween 2009, the first time Mick McCarthy meets Tony Pulis in the Premier League. Stoke go 2-0 up. But Mick, your Wolves team come back, draw 2-2. And I'm sorry, Mick, I'm taking the point off you. Because of BoyleSports' new laws, I'm afraid Stoke won that game. Congratulations, Tony.
Thank you.
There you go. So get paid out as a winner if your team goes 2 goals ahead, even if they go on to win, lose or draw. 90 minutes only applies to singles and multiples. 18 plus, T's and C's apply. Back yourself with BoyleSports, the home of the early payout. Head to BoyleSports.com or download the app to find out more.
Zonal marking, is it
No.
something that you...
I used to do man-for-man marking. I'd have a front post space, mid-goal space, man-for-man, but I'd designate the players. And we used to have a fine system that the money would go into a players' pool. So if your man scored, Mick, that cost you £100. And you know what it's like, never mind whether they're earning thousands of pounds or not, or hundreds of thousands. You take £1 off a player, and he breaks down and goes home and tells his wife. You take that money off him, it soon livens them up. It soon makes them concentrate a little bit more. So I obviously I did loads of things in my management day that people don't know about. One of the things was, fine, goes in the players' pool. Yeah. Whatever the players want to do with it at the end of the season, or but at Stoke we had the Donna Louise charity for terminally ill children just down the bottom of the road. We'd save up for Christmas presents for that, for them, for the little babes and everything else. So it was something that I think focused them and focused their mind. Mind you, had players like Ricardo Fuller and all. Whatever you said to him, Mick, went in one ear, went out the other ear, but you put up with those.
To be fair, you would have had, like me, a big team. You'd have had big players.
You'd have got in as a fullback for me, Mick.
I seem
not big enough for a centre half.
I'd have been a flying winger in one of your teams. So similarly, you got lads who could defend, and that's what you needed to do. I'm saying, we were chatting before, and I said when I was in Ireland with Big Jack, we've got 5 markers, we've got 1 in the near post, we've got 1 who goes and attacks it, 2 on the edge of the box. If we could, we never leave one up, we bring them all back. But it was me. He'd say, you make sure. You pick the biggest up, and then all the way down, you make sure somebody's being picked up. And it was my responsibility to do it. And I think when I look back now, and me as a manager, you designate, you do it. You tell somebody who's doing it. But I don't know. It's not for me, zonal marking.
It works. Zonal marking and man-for-man marking works if you've got people who want to head the ball.
Correct.
If you've got, I see people turning their back on crosses.
Well, they want
to looking at the players and not looking at the ball. They in my team, Mick, I'd go absolutely berserk. I would, honestly.
If you're not facing the ball,
I know you've got to front up with the player you're marking, and you've got to make sure you've got to be more determined than him. And there's loads of ways, Mick. You know the dark arts as well as I do. There's loads of ways that you can block people. You can put them off just before they jump. You don't have to be as big as them. You don't have to be as strong as them. You can certainly put them off before or before the ball ever gets anywhere near them.
I do think that the zonal marking now, though, and I watch it. You could get penalties. People are not.
Well, the referee said they were going to do that. They haven't.
They're pulling them down. They don't get penalties. I think there's that much going on. It's hard to do it. Yeah, so we're not. Anyway, between the two of us, we're not zonal marking fans now.
No.
And we go back to the other stuff. If it's not working, try something else. I remember Daichi. I rang. We were having a tough time at Ipswich. And they're in the Premier League, Daichi. Daichi's a mate of mine for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I thought, and they got the best record defending corners.
This is Burnley.
Yeah, there's me, so thinking, I've a good idea of how to defend and to set the team up and to defend. But it was going a little bit pairs, that side of it. I rang him up. What do you do? What's your view on it? How are you setting it up? So we had the chat. Went through it, and it made sense. Yeah. And I changed it, and we did it. And maybe the lads jumped higher the next game, but it just helped me, and it gave somebody else a bit different to do it. Yeah. So we did similarly to what they'd been doing,
Mick,
and we went 2 or 3 games with not conceding.
Brilliant. The thing that I think it is sometimes is a lack of concentration with the players going out. That's why I said we set up a fining system, and my goodness, the lads have a laugh and a joke afterwards. As long as we won the game and never lost the game, but it's just setting their minds up. They've just got to be mentally bright. The ball goes out, you become active.
Anyway, we've been chatting, all things zonal marking and marking. We've chatted about West Ham. Let's talk about one of their big rivals who are under Oliver Glasner. They are flying. They are absolutely 17 matches, unbeaten in 17 matches in all competitions.
I've watched them, Mick, about 4 or 5 times, and they are so well organised and so well set up. It's frightening. They've got everything. They're even selling their best players and still getting results.
Yeah, as he went.
So the manager's got to take great credit. I was just talking to Nick before, and he was saying, I can't believe that West Ham have lost just to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace are a massive, massive football club. I mean that. People outside that area, might not think it. You get a 50,000 crowd full seat of their stadium, and they're doing what they're doing now, and you sell. And the supporters are just absolutely fantastic. I'm really pleased for the manager. I think the manager has gone in there. He sorted things. Took him a bit of time. He sorted things out, Mick.
He lost. How many did he lose when he went
5 or 6.
Yeah.
He had a bad start.
Started badly, he did, yeah.
But he's absolutely... They're flying, and every game I think they go into, the one thing you can guarantee, I think, is that they're not going to concede many goals. And they've got the big lad up front. They play off him. And they certainly get people in the box when they're up in the final third. The fabulous job.
Yeah, the one I remember was a game against Villa, and I thought they were excellent. They're really, really tough. They look so difficult to break down. Yeah. But they've also then got a threat.
Yeah, very much so.
And then when we look at the other teams, we've kind of lauded them in the past, Brighton and Brentford, maybe of last year. But we're looking at Bournemouth this year. They start with 10 points. Of course, that's down your manor.
Yeah, I watched them yesterday. I watched the game. It was quite a disappointing game, really, from both clubs. Both sides could have played. I think in Newcastle, it was, again, most probably a reaction from the midweek game against Barcelona. They came, Eddie changed a lot of players. They played 5-4-1 and looked to counter-attack. Bournemouth weren't as sharp going forward. I've watched them a lot of times. I think the manager there, Ariola, has done such a good job. Yeah. They work their socks off, Mick. As a group of players getting up and down the pitch, they're just fantastic. People say, "Can you run? Do you want to run?" Well, I'm telling you, they can run, and blimey, do they want to run? They run and close down and compete.
They're one of the best at pressing I've seen.
And they've got really, they've got players who can handle the ball, Mick, in midfield. So when they get it, they keep it and they get up the pitch. But they run up that pitch. You watch them when they lose it. They're the best team I've seen getting back behind the ball, like you can't believe it. So, again, a smaller club, supposedly, with players who are working within a system like Palace. They understand the system. You look at them and you go, there's an identity there. There's a purpose and an identity. And those two clubs have done, Palace and Bournemouth.
As you know, brilliant. And I know, and we've been there, there's a real lovely thing about being at a club that's not that fancied, but you're doing well at it. Yeah. And if you can get the players to be doing that, you're always, punching the opposition on the chin a little bit. The better, so-called better teams that come. You know what? Lots of those players might think I'd want to be playing at Man City, I'd want to be playing at Man United, I'd want to be at Chelsea. But while they're there and they've got that atmosphere, that support going and how they're playing, it's a great place to be when you are beating the bigger teams. It's brilliant.
Well, Bournemouth have just built an unbelievable training ground. You know, my little Nico, one of my grandchildren's there, and Molly, they go play football there. It's just unbelievable what has happened at that football club. When I was with Harry there, when I signed with Harry, we used to train over in the park. Yeah, used to have dogs, people walking through the training session with their dogs, over the park. It's changed so much. It's frightening. What they need now really is to add to their
success.
Yeah, they need to add to this stadium. They will get more people now watching it, although it's supposed to be a sleepy town and everything else. You know, the football is just it's just caught on fire there, and there's so many now younger supporters in Bournemouth who don't support Man United or Chelsea or Arsenal or the bigger clubs. You know, they're walking around with Bournemouth shirts on, which is absolutely fantastic.
There's nothing better than that. If you're in the town and you've got your own team shirt on, it's brilliant. Yeah.
So you've asked me about two of my former clubs, Palace and Bournemouth. What about Wolves, Mick? Your former club.
Yeah, what about Wolves? I'm so surprised to see them where they are and to see the run of poor results they've had. Although I said my team, Leeds, who I supported, went and beat them at the weekend, which I was not surprised to see. I mean, Leeds, I think, have started well, and Wolves have started so badly. But I am surprised. Vitor Pereira, who came in last year, turned it around, and it's interesting because I know a lot of people in Wolverhampton will be saying, "Oh, he comes into the pub and he has a pint and things were going great for him." I said,
he won't be doing that now.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I said at the time. But despite losing the opening 5 matches of the season and the sitting bottom of the league, apparently he's being offered a new 3-year contract.
Has he spent a lot of money though, Mick?
160 million, apparently.
Well, if they've backed him with 160 million pounds, it's just common sense. And this program's about common sense.
I'm saying that I've been told by these are people I know, pals of mine who are Wolverhampton fans.
Well,
died in the wool, Wolverhampton fans, and go every week, season ticket holders.
But if we're talking common sense, if the board of directors or the owners of the football club have given him 160 million to spend, and then they sack him after 4 or 5 games, that hasn't given him personally the chance to get the team together,
of course,
and get the results that they need. Whether he can do that or not, again, Mick, as we've talked on this program many a time. If he doesn't start getting results, then things will change. But your point
being is 160 million to sign the players that you want.
Yeah.
You think that fit into your system. You think they'll make the club better. You've got to be given a chance to make that work.
Now, was it his players or was it the sporting director's players that are now out on the pitch? We don't know now, Mick. That's the problem. That's the problem.
You know the 5 games in, is it?
Yeah.
It's not... I'm going to say, can't go on like this, can it? It can.
It can.
So, anyway, I'm hoping it doesn't. I want them to stay in the Premier League, and I've got a great love for them and my mates there. But the long-term contract, we both know, so it'd be fabulous for him if that's the case, if he signed a new 3-year contract. But we both know it can be a 3-year contract with a 3-month get-out clause in it. And if they were doing it to show a support of Vitor Pereira after what he did last year, so the players go, hold on a minute, the club are backing him, they're backing us, we want him to get out of it. I see that as a real sensible thing to do. But we both know, I'm not bothered how much they
back him or don't back him
now, because you've got to try and get out of that rut of losing games. If it continues that way, it'll end. There's no question. You can't stay for 3 years if you keep losing games. But he was brilliant last year, and whatever he did, I think they sold some of their best players, as usual.
Yeah.
They lose the players. Other players come in who are not as good. That makes it difficult. I tell you what it does. It makes it difficult for the players who are still there. Because when it's going badly, they're in the dressing room going, well, we sold so-and-so, and we sold so-and-so, and we sold so, and we've not really replaced him as well, so we're not as good a team.
Well, he must have done something, Mick, to spend £160 million. So, there's there's got to be some players that have been brought in.
Anyway, there's a question
he
here.
fancies.
Have you ever been given a new long-term 3-year contract after a run of defeats like that?
No.
I've had one taken off me. Manchester United, shall we look at them? We got back to winning ways. So I sort of watched bits of it fleetingly and in and out between different things with my grandkids.
Yeah, I thought they looked a lot more dangerous than what they have in the past. To be honest, they've got a bit pace now, wide, and they look as though they looked on the day as though they were playing forward quicker. They had players running forward, which again helps, I think. If you play forward and run forward, there's going to be more excitement in your team and give you more opportunities.
United, they
were always like that.
They've always been most, one of the most exciting teams, haven't they?
Yeah.
So
they look. Obviously, the goalkeeper gets sent off early, so they're down. Chelsea were down to 10 men, and then Casemiro gets sent off for 2 challenges. The second one, to make that a sending off, I'm not sure about that, Mick. All right, he's tugged his shoulder or whatever, and the kid's made the most of it. But it seems now that every time players broken up with someone going forward, it's automatic booking, and I'm not sure. Again, being a little bit old-fashioned, I just don't see that. Yeah, if they're stopping someone going through and scoring a goal, but if you're stopping someone in the middle of midfield, maybe 1 or 2 times, you book them then, but not. No, I didn't think it was worthy of a set. He knew it was a second yellow. He knew the kid was going to go off, and I'm not sure that was fair.
We're talking from an era where we played, and the first one was free. Yeah, and it was, no matter what you did.
I worked for Don Megson, or played for Don Megson, who was such a great man, but tough as boots. And I can remember my first game and him coming over and saying exactly what you said, Mick. Tony, don't forget, your first tackle is a free tackle.
Absolutely, yeah.
Make the most of it.
The Managers with Mick and Tony is powered by BoyleSports, the home of the early payout. And why is BoyleSports the home of the early payout, I hear you ask? Well, with BoyleSports, if the team you back goes 2 goals up, you win, job done, you're getting paid out. Singles, ACCAs, bet builders, it's all covered. And this means we need to reconsider a crucial game in your career, Tony. I'm talking, of course, about the 1999 playoff final when your Gillingham team were 2 goals up with 5 minutes to play. Obviously, that means, in the eyes of BoyleSports, you have now won the Second Division playoff final, 1999. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And also, West Ham won the 2006 FA Cup final, which is great. And commiserations to Liverpool for not winning the 2005 Champions League. And obviously, now Gillingham have won the 1999 Second Division playoff final. Commiserations to Nicky Weaver and Manchester City. Yes, get paid out as a winner if your team goes 2 goals ahead, even if they win, lose or draw. 90 minutes only, applies to singles and multiples. 18 plus, T's and C's apply. Back yourself with BoyleSports, the home of the early payout. Head to BoyleSports.com or download the app to find out more.
Right, Tone. Predictions, let's have yours for this week.
You have mentioned that I'm 1 up, so I'll mention that first. So it's 6-5 at the moment, Mick.
Sorry, can I just
say... To the Welshman.
I've got an appealing for the Blackburn Ipswich result. Definitely, that could change.
Right, let's go. Man City to beat Burnley. Spurs to beat Wolves. Chesterfield to beat Newport, my hometown. My ex-club Gillingham, where I had a wonderful 4 years, to beat Harrogate. £10 returns, £42.83p, including the ACCA boost. I'm going Man City because I just think they've got too much quality for Burnley. And having had what now has turned out to be, a good result, although he's taken a little bit of criticism for being a bit pragmatic, I just fancy City. Spurs, I just can't see Wolves getting anything at Tottenham. I think Tottenham are starting to get things moving, and they look a team that's playing a lot quicker going forward. And I just think they'll have too much. Chesterfield, good side, good home side. Don't lose many games at home. Newport are having a little bit of a struggle. It's my hometown. Similar to you, Mick, you hope maybe that result doesn't go the way that you've predicted. And then Gillingham are flying this season, which is lovely to see. Great little club that I managed them for 4 years. A great 4 years down in Kent. I just think they'll have too much for Harrogate.
Well, I think they're good ones because I was looking this morning at results and then I saw yours and I thought I can't do the same as you. So I'd have to change. Except one. So I've got Spurs to beat Wolves, Bradford to beat Blackpool. Two of my teams, I'm hoping for the reverse now because I back my teams to win. So I'm going to back them to lose and hope they win, if that makes sense. Grimsby to beat Cheltenham and Celtic to beat Hibs. And £10 on that returns £53.96, including ACCA Boost. Under Thomas Frank, Spurs, any team under Thomas Frank, I think, is brilliant at Brentford. He's got them going. Wolves, no points, going down there. They've given Vitor Pereira a new contract. I'm not so sure that's a good enough reason to back them to go down to Spurs and win. So Spurs to beat Wolves, Bradford to beat Blackpool. Bradford are flying at the top. Blackpool under Steve Bruce did really well last year, just struggling a little bit now. I'm going to find it really hard for them to go to Bradford and win. Grimsby beat Sheffield Wednesday and they beat Man United in the Cup. And then you've just told me they've got a big cup game midweek, which I hadn't really sourced into my prediction.
I spend hours doing this, Mick, hours.
Sure you do. But they're on a run, and Cheltenham are struggling, so I've got Grimsby down to beat Cheltenham. And then Celtic to beat Hibs. And any other reason for Celtic, except I'm a fan of them, of course, and I played there. But Hibs, I think they're fourth with 6 points, but Celtic are flying. I just can't see them getting beat. So I'm taking Celtic. Right, Tone, that's it for this week, and I will see you next Monday, I hope, because I'm doing a parachute jump on Sunday, 8 a.m.
Go all the best.
Thank you very much. I'll take all the best. So I said I'll see you next week. Well, I'm hoping so, but who knows? I'll get the insurance policies out. Make sure Fiona knows all the passwords. I'm doing it for Barnsley Hospital charity though, and I know we're going to put a link on. And if anybody would like to, maybe I should put it out and see if I could get them to sponsor me for pushing me out. Maybe that might work. I've no idea. But anyway, if somebody could, it's for Barnsley Hospital charity. Both my parents died from cancer. My dad had bowel cancer, my mother had breast cancer. And they were brilliant. They looked after them so well. So if there's anybody out there who'd like to, I'd be delighted to accept it, as small or as large as it can. So thank you for that. So, Tom,
I've just rung Debbie up. She'll put some money in there, Mick.
Of course, because you can't do it, can you, on the phone? No. We'll get your 10-year-old grandchildren to do it. So we'll see you next week. Well done, mate. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Cheers, Mick.
All the best.